After the abrupt departure of the inadvertent Avani-favored inhabitant, the Celestial Sundry sends out a request for others with favors of Avani, the nature goddess. The inhabitants of the temple that worships all of the gods live in a desert. The temple is nestled partly in the nearby mountain. The Celestial Sundry is granted several druid inhabitants who live there to maintain the food sources of the clerics. Soon after the druids settle into their new home, winter settles in the air. Kuno, one of the druids, stands in the frigid morning air. He watches the graying sky while partaking in his morning coffee. Enok, one of the long-term inhabitants of the Celestial Sundry, works through his morning chores.
I do wish these parts saw some snow.
Did you say snow?
I did. I come from the Narrator domain. There we saw some snow spells in the winter months, as well as warm sunshine and rain showers in the summer.
Enok looks around at the vast sand flats everywhere, save for the mountains on the one side of the temple. The orc's gaze then settles on the Cosm Dam.
You realize this area gets no normal precipitation.
I do, yes. Call it an end-of-the-year wish.
You are an odd one, aren't you?
Maybe I am. But I have prayers to Avani to offer the garden.
Kuno excuses himself and steps into the temple. After finishing his sweeping, Enok returns inside as well. He shakes his head when he sees Kuno still making his way toward the garden. Malene, the high priestess of the temple, approaches Enok.
What is the matter, Enok dear?
That man thinks wishing can bring snow to a desert.
Who says he's wrong?
Not you two.
Alaric Goldenscales, a dragon keeper of the Rainy Peaks Mountains, falls asleep in his dragon form. Given how much mana it took for him to maintain his smaller build and appearance, he often rested in dragon form to better absorb more magical energy to do so longer. His settling on the ground in his larger body shakes the earth. A small pile of snow rolls down the backside of the mountain. "24 hours later, the dragon man rises from his sleep. He shakes off the heavy layer of snow that had covered him. To warm himself up, he begins moving. Alaric flaps his wings rapidly, kicking up more snow. Alaric then returns to his significantly smaller form.
I feel I should have realized a few decades sooner that a smaller body would be easier to warm.
The dragon then returns to the village that was built around him and the territory he preserves on the mountainside. When he returns to his home, he is greeted by his children and his mate.
Not too cold this time, my beloved?
Just a touch.
Then come, have some breakfast.
The small group walks into the warmth of the cabin.
Dad, do we have to ask Avani to preserve things when it's winter? It's so cold.
Of course we do, sweet girl. It is even more important then, because a lot of trees and other plants die off, and they might not return in the spring if we don't.
Can't we do it closer to home then?
Are you really going to complain?
Yeah, that's easier than walking the whole domain.
And we have plants here too, and so do the neighbors.
You are. Why? It's time we spend with Dad.
Hey, why don't we do that, Dad? Walk around blessing the grass then.
Or gardens.
That seems like a nice idea.
Would you like to do that instead of walking through the forest with me?
I would.
Me too. I don't like the cold.
But I like walking through the forest with you.
And we can spend more time learning in the winter instead and do more druid stuff in the summer.
I see you all put some thought into this.
And you'd get to spend more time with Mom.
Don't you want to spend time with Mom?
I don't suppose you put them up to this.
This is the first time I'd heard of this.
I expected as much.
Please, Dad.
Pretty please.
We'll do a good job. We promise.
It is a really good idea, and does offer some advantages.
It does. I'll think about it.
Yay!
Thank you, Daddy.
We'll do a good job.
The three children rush off to their bedrooms in celebration. Reyes remains in the kitchen.
That was unexpected.
It was. Devious little cherubs, aren't they?
They've even learned to work together when they take the low road of looking cute at us to get what they want.
We should figure out where they learn that.
And learn how to defend against it. Are you going to give them what they want?
Probably. There are wonderful little children, and they did ask nicely.
Since they'll still have to be outside during the winter months, we should still get them warmer clothes.
Or convince them to wear shoes so they can remain outside longer.
I am deciding instead to do the possible and find them warmer clothing to wear.
You do have a point.
But I want to be a good druid, Dad. Like you.
And you can, and you will. You and I can still walk around together.
Thanks, Dad.
Reyes hurries into his room.
He really grew into his role as a druid.
I remember when he hated the windy days that came with storms.
Yes, and I am proud of that growth. He enjoys his time with you. Are you warming up yet?
I'm starting to, yes.
Before dawn crept over the horizon, Kuno rolls out of bed. The wood elf and dragon Dom prepares a pot of tea and a pot of coffee for the other early risers. While he prepares his coffee and partakes in a few slices of leftover bread, Eesar, a swamp elf apothecary and longtime dweller in the temple, joins him in the kitchen area.
Why are you always up this early?
I was raised by a dragon. My father was always up early, praying to Avani while his coffee cooled.
Your father was the dragon?
He was, yes. His name is Elif. He and various other dragons live in the vast wilderness of the Narrator domain. My mother was a wood elf wanderer. She happened upon the hatchery, fell in love with my father.
Oh, sweet 13 gods above.
Is something the matter?
You are a chipper morning person.
How is one not chipper in the morning? It's wonderful to wake up first thing and meet the morning dew or frost, knowing you are gifted with another day to live in this glorious plane of existence.
By not having had my coffee yet, like every other person in the world.
See, I think you can appreciate life without your coffee.
You are still talking.
Because that's how a conversation works.
Then why don't you avoid coffee in the morning? If I can appreciate life without coffee, then you can too, right?
Oh, mine is just a habit.
Eesar watches the Dom leave the kitchen area.
They need to get Bythos back. I can't keep living with happy druids.
Kuno steps outside with his morning coffee. He looks to Enok, Hakan, and Malene, then toward where they are staring. As the day breaks, puffs of snow dance on a light breeze above the desert temple.
Oh, thank you, great gods above. Thank you for bringing me a glimpse of my home life, here in the desert, one of the least likely of places.
Is this real?
It seems so. You may want to plan your scouting mission differently.
I can try, but honestly, I'm not prepared for snowfall in the desert.
You do have a point. But I'd feel better if you went to see if the caravan has arrived yet.
But of course, after sunrise. I will need some assistance. I will need to dress myself better for traveling in the desert.
Enok and Eesar might be up for going to the border.
Huh?
You're going with me to meet Oltan and the others?
Oh, right. Certainly. Anything to get away from this impossibility.
Impossibilities aren't all bad. A man favored by Avani impossibly allowed animals and plants to thrive in the desert with only his presence.
Right.
Oh, this is beautiful! I haven't seen a snow like this since I was a child.
It is breathtaking. And not only because it's a desert and there is snow.
I feel incredible for having my wish granted.
It is a wonderful feeling. But we cannot forget ourselves. We still have our day-to-day tasks that are needed of us.
Of course, Malene.
I will have breakfast and then return to the tasks at hand.
No. Enjoy the seeming impossibility we are witnessing.